I don't want that pressure. When I really think about it, I don't want that pressure. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Faiven.
And welcome to Let's Talk About It.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, we want to hear from you, so comment below during the video.
Today we are talking about not taking things personally.
Easier said than done, child, so let's talk about it. But first, rapid fire.
When was the last time someone offended you?
When I asked a genuine question about someone's religion and then they shot back a snarky answer. When I get a wedding invitation in the mail, my first thought is blank.
I've gotten like one wedding invitation and it was from my best friend in Hawaii, so I was very happy. Something you don't ever want anyone's opinion on is
my major life choices. What is a criticism you remember receiving as a child?
That I was difficult, that I didn't want a lot of affection, that I was hard to console. As someone who's been acting for years now, does rejection still sting?
I've never been rejected. I just haven't been accepted.
We'll get into it.
What's a common insecurity you notice people project onto you in your conversations?
It's probably harmless, but if somebody isn't comfortable wearing something that you're wearing, they go, ooh, couldn't be me. Which one are you more likely to take personally? Not getting a call back when you nailed the casting, or not getting called after a date that you thought went really well? That was a good one. I was proud of that one.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
I would say the date, because industry stuff I'm just used to. They just literally don't have the time to call everybody. But the date, because then it leaves me thinking, dang, am I delusional? Was you not feeling what I was feeling?
Right, it went so well.
How sensitive are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
1,000.
You a crybaby?
I am more sensitive than I come across.
Same.
I'm not a crybaby. Like, I'm a G on the outside. So at this point in the game, our big ol' age, like we love to say, we have definitely faced our share of rejection when it comes to not getting a job, not getting a call back. I know for me, the thing that I have always struggled with is, did I not get the job because of something that I can work on for future auditions? Or did I not get the job because they need somebody with long hair, don't care? And then I'm like, okay, well, that's never gonna be me, you know?
See, I never struggle with that. The way my confidence is set up.
Okay.
I did that. I nailed it. You just wanted a redhead. I'm not a redhead. That's it. Because at the end of the day, like if I wasn't good at what I was doing, I wouldn't still be given the opportunities. Like, not everyone gets to audition for certain casting directors. Not everyone gets called in multiple times for the same room. And it's a numbers game. I just really genuinely do not take it personally because I know of all the factors that go into it. Maybe it's because I've seen behind the curtain and I worked at NBC before and I have some friends that are producers and directors and in casting, and it's just not, it literally is not personal. Sometimes, yeah, if you suck, work on your craft. But if you suck, you probably wouldn't be in the position to get actual auditions. Like, how are you signed? How do you have an agent? How do you even have the opportunity to self-tape if you're that bad? I know your agents and managers check the tapes before they send them, and they'd be like, girl, I need you to redo this, or they would drop you. You know what I mean? So
somebody believes in you.
Exactly. So
believe in yourself.
Period. When I was younger, when I didn't book something, I thought it was just me. And I registered it as rejection. But then the older I get and the more seasoned I get, I don't even have nerves anymore. It's a job. It's fun. I know the mechanics of it. I know what I should do. I stay in class so I can learn new tools. And I'm like, oh, if I apply these tools, my delivery is way more believable. Like stuff like that. So I try to tweak things and do the best I can. But then I let go and let God.
Okay.
It's to the point where when I have friends who are not in the entertainment industry, and they ask me about, oh, how did that audition go that you had to leave for to do? I have to explain to them my preference that they not ask me how the audition went, because the way my coping mechanism is set up is after I send the tape, it's over because it's no longer in my hands. It's above me now. So you just reminded me of something that I cannot do anything about.
Yeah.
So, and I moved on. And then by the time you ask me a week later, hey, how'd that thing go? I don't even know what you're talking about because I had 3 other ones.
Right.
So I just move on with my life. And then I have events to work, and then I have food to prep, and then I have to go to Boston to see my sister. Like, I'm just living life.
Yeah.
And so I don't even take the time to register the rejection. Even, I remember something I booked last year, I was like, oh, that was great. We was kicking on the callback Zoom, even though like you're talking just to the director, and then everyone else has a black square because like they turn their camera off, and I'm like, wait, there's like 20 people on this, but you don't even realize
it's better that you don't see them.
I agree. But yeah, I'm all kicking. It was great. And then I moved on with my life, and I actually forgot about it, even though it was a good one. And then I got the email, hey, hold the dates. You're in the mix. And I got the email, you're booked. And I'm like, oh, sweet. But I'm to the point where if it's bad, I forget about it. If it's good, I forget about it.
I almost asked you about an audition that I helped you record a few weeks ago, and then I remembered how you feel about people asking you, and so I didn't ask you, and then I was like, if she would have got the job, I would have got the text, girl, guess what I just booked?
Yeah.
So I just let it go.
Because we filmed before, remember in that nightmare Airbnb we stayed in?
Yes.
Where there was mosquitoes and
carbon monoxide
we
poisoning?
literally almost died. The firemen came and everything. But I had booked that one that you taped for me. And I still get residuals from that.
Which is so wild because like you didn't feel good about it. We just did it really quick. You probably were questioning my camera holding abilities. How dare you? But it's always the jobs that you're like, whew, well, we're just gonna put that out of our mind because I definitely didn't book that. And they're like, you got the job. Because the other one that I didn't ask you about, I'm like, oh, she nailed this. I'm definitely gonna hear from her. Like, girl.
And I think those dates probably passed.
Yeah, yes. It was a holiday thing, so they probably already shot it and they're done.
Yeah, done, and you'll never see that again. But yeah, so that's why that's like a testament to this fact that you just let it go.
Yeah.
The thing we didn't think we'd book, we booked.
Yeah.
The thing we thought we would, we didn't.
Yeah.
So it's just let it go.
That comes with time though, because I do like. It's easy to say now, we're like a few years in, and even I still sometimes double back with, oh. So thank you for the reminder. I appreciate that. Even getting the audition and getting asked to do a callback is a win, and your job is over after you check that box. Then the responsibility is on them to pick who they're going to pick. But when you're new and you're starting out and you need the money, you know, it's a lot harder to be like, oh, well, maybe the next one, because like rent doesn't stop, you know, so you're just like, but that's where having a plan B, being able to supplement and busy yourself so that you're not waiting, helps alleviate the time for thoughts to ruminate and take things personally.
Absolutely. And I know you did a lot of work, especially around the pandemic time, like with your family, and that means you have kids involved too. So do you feel extra slighted when they don't like pick your babies, or like what's it feel like when it comes to rejection and taking things personally when it comes to your kids?
Well, when it comes to my kids and work, and we were able to book together during the pandemic, I loved it. And I thought that was going to set us on a trajectory to do more family bookings. But that was also after like Black Lives Matters and a lot of protests and a lot of pressure on companies to show just how diverse they are. So unfortunately for me, that meant that we weren't necessarily getting booked because how cute and adorable my kids and my family were. We were kind of just a diversity quota being met. And so to my surprise and disappointment, like we booked a few jobs, but I was like, oh, this is it. Like we in there now, you know, and that just like wasn't the case. Also, my daughter is, she just, you know, she looks older than her age, and when it comes to kids and modeling, they like you to look as young and innocent and as youthful for as long as possible. So now that you're in that in-between stage as a young girl, or you're going through puberty, or you have braces, or, you know, you have like a little acne, like you almost don't fit the mold or the market that they're looking for while you're in that transitionary girlhood period. And I would rather not even subject my daughter to that at this time if they're making her feel like, oh, well, you don't look young enough. What you're not about to do is tell my 13-year-old that they don't look young enough. I know as an adult what they're looking for. They're looking for that late bloomer 12 to 13-year-old that still looks 8 or 9, and that's just not my kid. And I'm building her up in such a way that she is very aware that this is something that we do with mommy sometimes. but you still gonna go to school and you're still going to pursue the sports and the things that interest you, and you'll have this to fall back on, but how you look and what you do in that capacity will be the least interesting thing about you if I do my job right.
I didn't even put that together. Like, you're right, when they show kids, it's either 7 years old, pigtails, little pink frilly dress.
It jumps to the teenage sexualized.
Yes, and then that's why when we watch those high school shows...
Have you ever seen a kid with acne?
No.
Or a slight pimple or anything?
They always cast like a 30-year-old hot girl, and she's supposed to be 18 or something. Mm-hmm. So they literally don't show pubescent kids.
They don't.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and luckily she's not even passionate enough about modeling to where she's like, Mom, why aren't we booking anymore? Why aren't we? Because I don't have her signed to a kids agency. Like, the jobs that we book as a family, we are booking like through me. But I just can't be in two places at the same time, right? So I can't be over here auditioning and casting for you and then over here, trying to do whatever I'm trying to do for me, and then still, the dog and the house and the other side of my life, the domestic side. But yes, outside of work, kids is definitely always like a sensitive topic. Like, I am open to suggestions and ideas. I very much believe it takes a village. So if there is something that that could help me, please share, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, so you don't even know to ask. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you don't have kids, then you don't have no place at all. But you probably have a perspective that I'm blind to because of proximity and being too thick in it, that I would also be open to hearing, but I also trust you enough to know that any perspective that you share with me isn't coming from a place of, girl, strangers on the internet, like, unless it's really, really clear that this is something that's being said with love and understanding, even then, it's probably a slippery slope. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much I share about my life, you don't know me, I don't know you, so you probably just shouldn't comment about my kids. And I also don't believe that, oh, well, if you put them on the internet, then that means I can say block. Like, no, like, you do not get to say any and everything that you want about kids. I don't understand how people even do that with celebrities' kids. Like, oh, did you see that baby? Like, this is a child.
I know. But, I mean, the celebrity thing, people haven't understood, like, the science behind parasocial relationships. Like, it's like they're exalted, like they're not real people. And so I get that, because it's like, I know everything about your life because I've been watching you on TV since I was a little girl, but you don't know me at all, but I feel like I know you. And like the average person too, who have never met a single celebrity, they even feel entitled to be able to comment, and they think that's part of the package. Mm-hmm. So as much as you're grounded and you're mama bear over your kids, like, I do see, devil's advocate, I do see both sides where someone's like, well, you let me into your life so I can kiki how I want to kiki.
And get blocked.
Yeah, you get blocked. It is what it is. Like, if that's your boundary, you have the right to block, but then they're like, well, I'm a comment. It's like, it is what it is. I mean, I have to deal with that. Like, my sister has her 2 babies, and she's very involved as a mom, and they're very smart kids, very sweet. And my mom, I have to remind her not to take things personally when my sister is doing the most, because I'm like, you don't know how you're going to parent until you become a parent.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of parents are trying to do the opposite of what their parents did. They're like, I didn't like this from my childhood, so let me fix it, or let me maybe overcorrect. And you don't know. So when I am making my travel plans, or I make requests, or if the phone call is not answered, it's like, you're rearing kids. I get it. I'm not taking any of that personally. Mm-hmm. Like, you're in a whole different headspace. Your body is a body you're not used to because humans just came out of it. Like, you're all over the place, sleep deprived. So I don't take any of those relational deficits when it comes to new moms and stuff personally, or even seasoned moms, because there's soccer practice, there's this, there's that, there's keeping the house together. So friendships change over time, especially when people start forming families. And if you're taking it so personally that your homegirl won't go on the girls' trip, child, she got a family.
Right.
She not going on the trip. And if she does, cool. Her man, they got their situation set up. He might go on a boys trip too. But I'm not going to take it personally if somebody doesn't come to my birthday dinner because they have a life.
As long as you RSVP, if you back out on Faiven without putting in a word, you will be getting blocked. Go ahead, tell the other side of that coin, ma'am.
Okay, so what had happened was...
I don't take anything personally, it just...
So here's the thing. I give people choices.
Yes, you do.
And I have boundaries.
Yes.
So you're not going to play in my face with my time, money, or resources. So if you say you're going to do something, you should do it, especially when it affects other people.
Yes.
Unless it's, a big disaster happens. But if you just tired or don't feel like it, or you made some other plans, or you're sloppy with your calendar, so you double book, that sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't play with me and don't play in my face.
I think having enough just self-awareness about like what you can truly take on, how much time you have, how much bandwidth you have is essential. My sisters and I started a book club not too long ago, and once a week we jump on a call, and normally we have to like push back the time, or maybe we have to change the day a little bit, but we have been able to stick to once a week, and I'm really proud of us because we're all moms with at least 3 kids each between the 3 of us. But this last week my sister was like, hey, I can't do this time. And I'm like, that's fine. Me neither. I got an appointment. So we moved the time. Ooh, okay, sorry. I forgot I have a field trip. I can't do that time either. No worries. Let's do the afternoon. But by the time the afternoon came, she was like, listen, I don't have the bandwidth. I thought I did. Thank you for trying to accommodate me, but I just don't. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm proud of you. I think sometimes, especially as moms, we wait until the burnout has hit. And even if you're not a mom, I think women who just take on too much can attest to this. We wait until the burnout has hit and the overload is there to be like, I did too much, to be able to, in a mode of self-preservation, go, hey, listen, I can already feel myself checking out. It's one of those days. Can we reschedule before you get to that complete burnout? That's great. I wish for myself that I could recognize when that is stirring in me before I get to the point that I'm crying in my husband's chest. So didn't take it personally. I was like, that's fine. Do you want us to go on without you or check back in next week? She was like, go on without me. And then me and my other sister did the book club call.
That's good. Yeah, I think so. Self-awareness is the most important part, and accountability when it comes to stuff like that, especially when it involves other people. And when people lack that, it just irks me to my core.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you brought up that I be blocking people and stuff, I still am not taking things personally. I just assert my boundaries. So I'm like, this is how I operate. This is how I run my life and events and calendar and this and that. And if you are repeatedly disrespecting it, or you don't follow the rules, when it's simple rules, you don't follow the rules. You was on the spreadsheet. You did all the things.
Yep, I saw the thick, bold text that was probably color-coded red. And I think you even put in the email that if you RSVP to this cabin trip and you do not come, lose my number, essentially.
I followed through.
Yes.
Because, so it's one thing to play with me, but then don't play with 10 other people. It's their money, it's their time. If you're saying you're coming, people are budgeting a certain amount.
Oh, for sure.
I just think about everybody. And so people who don't have that awareness for other people, that really irks me. And that actually brings me back to the whole kids thing, where I've never gotten into a physical fight in my life, but I have cuteness aggression. So it's when you see something so cute and you freak out, you're like, oh my God, like it's so fluffy.
It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die. So fluffy.
Cuteness aggression. I literally get riled up when things are so cute. And like my niece and nephew happen to be that cute as well. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. So I would spend time with my sister and we go to the playground or like go to the zoo or whatever. And if I see my niece playing with other kids and other kids are like rough or take her toy or something, just watching that injustice paired with cuteness aggression, I might fight somebody's child.
I see.
Again, I've never been violent. I've never been in a fight, but I want to protect the cute person so much. I just want to take just take her out, and I just want to just
Save
backhand.
her, and how dare you.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just feel it in my core, and it's just
Same. It's very hard as a parent when you are at the park and your kid is learning to socialize. They don't know the social cues. You're teaching them and practicing with them at home. Hi, introduce yourself. Ask them if they want to play. But then if another kid says no, or if it's other siblings at the park, which means their friends are already built in and they're not opening the game up to your kid, it's very hard to see. But on that, I take the stance of, like, I can't fight all my kids' battles. I cannot make somebody else play with my child. I can teach my child how to ask for what they want, how to maybe pivot and find somebody else that wants to play with them. But unless somebody is like actually shoving or name calling or disrespecting my child, in those moments, I just kind of have to take it to the chin and suppress all my urges to, how dare you not play with my child? But my first knee-jerk reaction is like, what? What do you mean you don't want to play with my baby? My baby is the best thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah, no, I'm going to jail.
Okay, great. I do sometimes, I think the one time that I take things personally across the board is if I feel like I'm getting taken advantage of. And in that situation, though, I think it's justified. Like, I had a friend that it happened like maybe 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 too many, where we would go out and they would wait until we got to the destination, and now I'm in this awkward spot because now the bill is coming and they're like, oh, you got me? And like, I feel like you're taking advantage of me now, and so I'm taking it personally, because why would you not disclose before we got to the restaurant or as we were making the plans that you really want to come and be a part of this, but like, you have no money? Waiting until the check comes puts me in a position now, like, what if I only had enough for me? I don't know. I feel like, yes, if you're my friend, I'm going to cover you, I'm going to whatever. But if this is now becoming a habit and you're taking away my choice, or just thinking that I now don't have the gumption to go, no, girl, I don't got you, you should have said that sooner, I don't like the position that you're putting me in. But I don't know, I think that's justified. I don't think that's me taking things personally because like I'm super sensitive. I'm like, nah, like, you gotta stand up for yourself, I think that's a little different.
It's a little different, and I think anyone can take anything personally, and the exercise that needs to happen to go above that is just like this self-actualization where you realize nothing is ever about you, really. People are really just projecting things. So if a friend is taking advantage of you and they're sneakily, every time you go out, being like, you got this, right? I don't think I would be annoyed, and I also wouldn't hang out with them anymore if they did it multiple times. But I wouldn't take it personally because I will go one step higher and actually pity them that they have no home training, that they don't have money, if that's really the case. Like, oh, that sucks that you can't afford a drink and a burger. Like, I will just redirect because it's about their actual behavior and not about me in that case. I'm like, dang. And so that exercise has really helped me. Even though I said I get riled up if I see like kids being rough on the playground or whatever, I'm not mad at the kid. I am disappointed in the parenting that they allow their child to act that way. So when you like are one step removed from the actual injustice and see what's behind it, it's more of a sadness and a pity that comes to mind.
Yeah. I'm teaching my daughter like things like this now with interactions and friends, because you don't ever want money to be the thing that is splitting up your friend group. But we see those videos all over the internet where it's the birthday girl, and wait, y'all should have had that conversation of who was covering the birthday girl like before the bill came. But she ran into a situation where somebody was like, I got it, and they're paying for all the food, and now somebody's not paying somebody back. And I'm like, girl, I want you to learn this lesson now. You don't want to lose friends over this. But Lily was like, she owed me money once. Now that I see what time we're on, you got a 24-hour window to pay me back, or I'm never loaning you anything again. Like, my baby got some boundaries, and I'm very proud of it.
I know, that's right. Yeah, money is definitely something that needs to be discussed like at a younger age, because you can really screw yourself over, especially the predatory credit cards when she's 18. She might come home from school one day and you're like, oh, hey girl, how's your semester going? And you find out she's $20K in debt because all the credit cards are mailed directly to her dorm or something, and like she's not taught about that. And then her friends might be like, oh, Lily got it, and she's swiping the credit card not knowing she needs to pay it off later and stuff like that. So yeah, that can be a really big deal.
Yeah, I always tell her, you are not your friend's ATM. She's pretty responsible though. Like if we give her a spending limit, she, unlike me at that age, if you tell me I can spend 50, I'm spending 50, and I might have to ask you for $5 because I didn't consider the tax. Lily, if I give her $50, she comes home and is like, oh yeah, I spent $15.95 and I have the rest saved over and I'll use that for next time when I want to eat takeout and you guys are saying no. And I'm like, very smart.
First of all, we giving children $50? That's a lot of money.
Well, sometimes it's from her grandparents, or like she has really good grades. She's been like a straight A student like year round, also taking like algebra classes on top of her like additional math classes. So yeah, family wants to reward her if she has leftover birthday money, Christmas money, whatever. Yeah, Lily, she in her little bag.
Oh, I must say, we did get rewarded for good grades. Like, you know, first honors is when you get straight A's, and then like second honors is like you get some B's in there. So I remember my parents, to incentivize us to get good grades, they were like, when you get your report card, if you get first honors, you get $100. And we're like, okay. So we was getting
That's
stacks.
a lot. We got like
$100. And then, second honors, $75. And then after a while, our grades were so good, they couldn't afford it. And they were like, you should be getting good grades because for you. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm like, you're not going to gaslight me. You're not going to set this up.
You started this train.
And now you mad. That shit was funny.
We got like $5 or $4 per A and then $1 less for a B. I don't know if we got anything for a C, you know, D's and F's.
For a C, you get a backhand.
Oh, okay. What about when it comes to dating though? Do you feel like you run into a lot of situations where you take things personally? Do you question, oh, did I take that out of context? Or are you just really out of pocket with that comment, sir?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the rapid fire a little bit where like, what did we say?
The man that you were trying to get to know?
Yeah, so like, I don't know anything about other religions really outside of Christian faiths. So when I was dating someone of a different religion, I was asking him genuine questions, because if we actually paired up and we're not equally yoked, I want to make sure we can still live a compatible life. And he was searching for a wife and he wanted to have kids. So I was asking he's in his 40s. Like, it was very mature conversations. And I think I asked 2 questions and he just got snarky back with me, like, oh, what are you gonna ask next? Just, does our underwear need to be approved? Or I'm like, wait, what? Like,
was this in person or over text?
This was over text, and the tone is already bad over text.
Yeah.
But he FaceTimed me immediately to be like, I was just kidding. And I was like, well, the joke writing was bad and the delivery was bad. So where the joke part of this? Like, now, because it turned me off, because now I don't feel comfortable asking questions, getting to know you. It's been 3 dates. And we talk pretty extensively about family and work and our histories and stuff. So I'm just keeping in line with it. But I guess your religion is like a sore spot. I don't know. I was just turned off.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually end up going out again after that.
Yeah. I feel like it's been so long since I've been on the dating scene, but one memory I have that lives rent-free in my head is when the person that I was sitting across from started to ask questions of like a sexual nature that I just felt like were way too soon. I was like, we're very much still getting to know each other. I am offended that you were even this comfortable to ask. You have no tact. Why? If we're not there, if I'm not kissing you, if we just trying to eat these freaking breadsticks in this moment, why are you asking me about anything sexually related at all?
Maybe the breadsticks were too phallic, too girthy. I get offended and take things personally when I'm the butt of a joke, I think, and when things are uncalled for. Like, if you're being rude or out of pocket and someone snaps back at you, yeah, you deserve that. So it is what it is.
Right.
But if you're being genuine and kind and sweet or accommodating and someone still like gets nasty or attacks you, that's when I take it personally. I'm like, what? But again, if you do that exercise, you're like, what's one step behind that? And it's like, oh, someone is projecting onto you, because especially when you haven't done anything to deserve any bad treatment, you know it's not because of you. So you just gotta be so leveled to just put it above you.
It takes a lot of maturity, and now in marriage, of course, so much comes up where you want to take things personally, and it's very easy to be like, all right, well, we've been together X amount of time now. You said you love me. You should know everything about me. So that should have never happened in the first place. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how long you and your partner have been together. Nobody's a mind reader, and sometimes people have bad days and they have off days. So there have been plenty of times where not plenty, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but there are times, when my husband is stressed or had like a really bad day, and I just ask him a question and he comes at me a little crazy, and I'm just like, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to sort that out. And and then he comes back and he's like, I was tripping, I'm sorry. And then he shares and unloads everything that goes that went on throughout the day, and we debrief and we support each other as loving couples do. But I appreciate that he's able to come back to me and say, I was wrong. A sign of growth in me is that I'm able to receive and understand where he was coming from, and not like hold on to the anger and like prolong this argument. Because when you have this many kids and just life be life, and you really don't have the energy to fight and argue. So to like choose to stay in anger is working against the two of y'all. Like, I love the phrase, like, it's not you against your husband, or it's not you against your wife, it's you and your partner against the problem. And it just reminds you that you guys are a team. If you know that at the end of the day it's all love, don't take this personally. And with me, most things that I take personally relate back to a pre-existing insecurity that I already had. Like, I grew up maybe self-conscious about my hair. I was self-conscious about my body, or maybe it's just my time of the month. So if I have stuff like that going on, and that's the moment that you want to make a joke about my titties, and I'm like, but I'm breastfeeding, and this one is the, just read the room. Just read the room.
Yeah, read the room for sure. I mean, I can only imagine the marital spats and disagreements.
Have you overheard any?
No, not really.
Oh, good. We're doing good then if we're not doing it in front of you.
Yeah. Don't embarrass me in front of company. Quiet. No, but like, and even with dating, since you're far removed from it, the things that I used to take personally in dating were just like, when someone doesn't want to see you again, a lot of the times in modern dating, they don't tell you. You just don't hear from them ever again. And I used to take
ghosting.
Yeah. But I used to take things personally, but now I don't, because I'm like, Faiven, you're also ghosting. So, because if you don't hear from them, nothing's wrong with my fingers. You know what I mean? I could reach out and make the next, but I don't, because I'm like, I am not really into them anyway, so I hope they don't reach back out. And like, even that guy who made that joke, and I'm like, yeah, I got the ick and I wasn't interested. And then I didn't hear from him for a week, and I was like, great. And I also didn't reach out, and then now it's been forever. And done and done. So why would I take it personally when I'm literally doing the same thing? And I'm like, stuff like that you learn from, because if somebody can't recover from a joke that didn't land, that's not the type of person you want around anyway, when you're literally in entertainment and have done comedy and have comedian friends. And no, like, so our sense of humor is just, that's all you got at the end of the day when you get old and you're sitting on the porch. Yeah. So not everyone is for you, and you're not compatible with everyone. So to take everything personally, if someone doesn't want to see you again, is kind of silly, because flip it around. Think of all the dates you've been on and all the people that you don't like, all the people that made you go, or all the people who were boring or dry across the table and you have to carry the whole conversation and you couldn't wait to get out of there. People on the other side have that same right to not vibe with you either. Right. So you're not the main character as much as we all think we're the main character.
One of the reasons I always echo that you could not pay me to go back to my 20s is just because the amount of insecurity that I struggled with, not being somebody's type, or trying to will and contort myself into a box that would just make me attractive to them, whether it was wearing my makeup a certain way or changing up my style to just be whatever they wanted me to be. And I feel for the people that are still there, and I hope you come out on the other side, because it is just such a breath of fresh air when you're just like, listen, I could be the most beautiful person in the world, and there is still going to be somebody that's like, yeah, but she's not for me, you know? So I don't even want that pressure. There's this episode in The Bear, which I love, but I had to stop watching because I was like, there's just so much anxiety in all of these characters' backstories. I need a show that's going to give me relief and not make me more anxious. But there was one episode where one of the chefs was like, I accepted that I was never going to be number one, and when I could resign comfortably as like the number two, my life got so much easier, because like just, you know, the pressure to excel and be and perform at that high level and then keep that spot. Do you know how much maintenance goes into like Lori Harvey's probably day-to-day upkeep or something? I don't want that pressure. When I really think about it, I don't want that pressure. So yeah, and my husband loves me. My husband thinks I'm attractive, and so that's what's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great place to be at, especially, yeah, you mentioned you can't watch it anymore because it gives you anxiety. Like, I also pick and choose my content based on how it makes me feel, because you internalize all of that. I'm like, and then what if I come at you crazy? It's because I just watched something crazy. You know what I mean? So if I know I'm that sensitive to energies and emotions, like, I need to regulate that. That's on me. But kind of related to like getting dumped and stuff, circling back to work, I was dumped by a manager before, and I felt some type of way. But then I think because I'm grown and I had done so much work and I knew his reasons for releasing me were ego-based, I did not take it personally. But younger me, like around COVID time, I had a manager who dumped me, and I took that personally because we hadn't even gotten started. I just did all the onboarding stuff, and then she was just like, oh, I took on too much, I won't be able to manage you. And I'm like, okay, you mean like now or like ever? She was like, ever. So I took that personally. And that was also at a time where like people were dropping like flies. Like, I'm not even kidding, during COVID. Like, I had an agent who literally died. Like, I sent in a tape and he normally responds like with emojis and fun stuff, and he didn't respond. I was like, dang, my tape that bad?
Right.
Found out he was dead. Yes, literally dead. And I'm like, that's why he didn't respond. And at the same time, I had paid for an acting class and $500 something, and I was ready to get going, and they're like, my apologies, you have the credit to get a different class, or we can refund you completely because that acting teacher has passed. So I was like, wow. And then around the same time, my manager was like, oh, I can't take you on, I have to release you. So 3 different people. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That can weigh on you, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the people who have passed, rest in peace, that was not personal. But then the manager dropping me felt like it, because I had 3 different appointments with different managers, and I went with this one woman, and she dropped me, and then you can't go back to the other ones that you rejected. I already emailed them to be like, hey, I decided to go with X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh, break a leg, best of luck. Oh yeah, we love her. And then she dropped me, so then that means I lost 3. So I took that personally, because I'm like, girl, you playing with my money, you're playing with my career, and I hated that. But circle back to years later, when I got another manager, he reached out to me, he saw me in a short film. No, it was a feature, it was an indie film. And he's like, hey, I know that casting director, blah, 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 you want to meet up? So we met up for coffee in Bryant Park, and we chatted about my career goals and aspirations. We started working together. I did book an episode of a TV show through him. But then I'm a grown woman. I think I was the same age as him even. So I'm still gonna do things on my own. I'm gonna advocate for myself. I'm still gonna network. I'm still gonna, even you and I, like, we got submitted through your agency to a job once as a pair because we have this show, right? So I'm always networking and finding opportunities. And because he was my manager, I'm CCing him, I'm forwarding things to him. I'm like, hey, this might pop off. Hey, we might get a bag here. Because at the end of the day, he gets 10% of whatever I come up with.
Yeah.
So one time I sent him a link to a modeling agency, because I remember when I was like trying to get back into print, because I just wanted money.
Right.
I want money,
right,
regardless of, I don't care what avenue. So I was looking in different markets, and I was like, oh, like this is one, and I had the email chain going with these people, because he would still get 10% of print jobs too, not just TV and film. He didn't respond, which was odd. And a couple of days later, he called me, and was like, hey, I thought about this over the weekend. I think it's best we go our separate ways.
Okay.
You're just doing all this on your own, and it just doesn't feel right that like you're talking to these other agencies, and that one that you sent me, that was a management company. I'm your manager. And I'm like, you're so dumb. You know how sometimes modeling agencies have the word management at the end? But their age...
Q, management.
Exactly.
10, management.
He was like, you're talking to other management? That's like disrespectful. And I'm like, oh, you pull a little tink. That's an agent. That is literally an agent, not a man. And then so I was like, okay, sweetie, be blessed, like released. And I didn't feel any type of way other than pity for him that he's just so dumb, and that I'm like, if you think that way and your ego is so bruised that one of your actors advocates for herself and networks in this industry that's based on who you know, boy, bye.
Right.
So that was a full 180 from like getting released from a manager before to getting released from a manager years later. And I'm like, okay, bye, because I'm over here building, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
You on board or no?
Yeah.
And if it's no, deuces.
So much of just everything is like timing based, you know. Sometimes we don't get the job or the position just because it was the wrong time. It doesn't mean that you weren't qualified or good at what you did. The timing was just off. And I know for me, when it comes to like modeling, like we are just now in that era and season of welcoming models that are mothers. We have models that are walking down the runway nursing, which was not a thing 10 years ago. Like I remember literally being told to hide the fact that I had a child because it just wasn't as marketable.
Did you take that personally?
I did take that personally because I was like, do you know how much multitasking I have to do? Do you know how many hats I have to wear as a single mother? If anybody can get the job done and find a way, it's me. And the shame that I was made to feel for just being a mom and a model. And I'm so excited and happy for the young women that I see now that aren't made to feel like they have to choose, because you should never, and shame on anybody that tries to make you feel like you can't be or do both. But I definitely took that personally because how dare you? And I'm just glad that times have changed. On that note, we want to hear from you. When was the last time that you took something personally?
Yes, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. And be sure to tune in to next week's episode. Let's talk about it. Defining success.